half-assed correspondent James Kalm back, and we are here at the bottom of SoHo. And well, we've had a couple of programs so far this season, 2016, but the season didn't really start until tonight, because tonight we're going to get a chance to go in and see an exhibition by Walter Robinson. This is a retrospective, and it's also a welcome home celebration for Jeffrey Deitch, who was drafted by La Mocha about 6 years ago, and well, he's come home. This is an extraordinary opening for me. I've been a fan of Walter's work for years, and it's gratifying to see that he's finally getting the kind of market institutional support that he's deserved for a long time. Oh gee, there's Walter. Among his throngs of fans. Hello, this is a massive show, so I'm going to just maybe focus in on a few pieces here and there. Vicks Vapor Rub. This has got a whole line of pharmaceutical products here. This is 40 by 36 inches. Hey, Bruce. Steve. Oh, gosh. Bromo Seltzer. Well, you know, if you were just to casually look at these pieces, you would probably think that this is kind of straight-ahead pop art, kind of riffing on Andy Warhol, but Walter's got kind of a nice, juicy touch, and these are acrylic. And this series was from 1984, which was probably about the height of the East Village art scene. I'm going to try to move my camera a little slower. I've been getting some complaints. This is titled Society Nurse. 48 by 36 inches. Well, I think Walter was probably doing the nurses even before Richard Prince. Well, I gotta work while I can because people keep jumping in front of the paintings. This is titled Something of Value, 1986. And, hello. Walter was known for his pulp fiction covers. This is titled On the Rhine. Acrylic on canvas, 48 by 36 inches. Oh yeah? Good for you. That's great. There were a lot of film noir references and 1940s and 50s romance novel allusions. Picture Perfect Kill 2012. of the other things about Walter that a lot of people don't appreciate is how much this work relates to Francis Picabia and particularly some of the work that he was doing in the late 30s, early 40s during the war. My love is violent. Acrylic on canvas 40 by 40. Here are some of Walter's most recent pieces. I remember seeing these in a show about maybe 2 years ago. Shoes. Long sleeve plaid. And lavender shadow plaid. This is 2014, 28 by 28. I believe this show is curated by Barry Blinderman, or a big part of it was curated by Barry Blinderman. Barry Blinderman has known Walter since probably the early 80s. And Barry was the director of Semaphore Gallery, where Annie Herron worked and people like Mark Kostabi got their starts. Untitled Red Kitty, Untitled Foot. This is a matter of taste. Acrylic on canvas, 1985. This is 50 by 25 inches. There was a period when Walter was doing some, I guess what you would call softcore porn. But, I mentioned this to him, he kind of laughed about this, but I said somehow Walter, just his approach and style has a kind of a wholesome attitude, even if the subjects might be smutty. We've got a series of Unstretched. I don't know whether they would consider these banners or sheets. This one is probably titled Farm Worker, and I would say that that is probably about 96 by 60. Unstretched canvas with the Duke of Hazzard's prints on there. Warner Brothers. Sinister. Well, I remember when Walter had a one-man show at Metro Pictures, who had started showing him back in the 80s. This was 2012. And that was the first time I saw one of Walter's unstretched paintings on sheets. Hotel Talleyrand. And I guess the surface, the backing is important for its elements of kiss. Wuzzles. In a lot of ways, this is like a trip down memory lane. I'm seeing a lot of people that I haven't seen in years. Like this cat, Rick Kroll. You've known Walter for a while, right?
Yeah. Is this filming?
That's a guy named Walter Robinson. Maybe you've heard of him. He's a painter.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay.
A little overrated.
Yeah, Rick's only known this guy for about 35 years. Okay. This is titled The Drifting Sands. You know, it's interesting to kind of read the references through the various lenses of time. Something like this was from 1986, but it looks like it was probably an illustration of something from 1962 or 63, some kind of a spy movie or something. and then we're looking at it through a lens of 2016, so you get a lot of refraction and complications to the ideas and the concepts of these images. This is Tobacco Road, 96 by 66. Well, I was off by 6 inches. It's also 1986. Okay, this is interesting. We've kind of got these little galleries selected according to themes. This one would be a theme of the portraits of children. It's titled Untitled Antonia with Spoon. Acrylic on canvas. This is 1983. Antonia with Snowsuit, 18 by 18. You know, and again, Walter does a wonderful job of capturing certain aspects of people's characters with the facial expressions. I don't know whether he's projecting these. I know he probably does work with photographs. Walter's also a family man. I know he's got a daughter, I think he's living out on the West Coast somewhere. Got some stuffed animals here. And a doll. Actually, this piece. This is Undressed Doll, 1985, 18 by 14 inches. Yeah, I like the restraint. My Little Pony, Infanta Bear, and Bunny. Here is a little gallery of what might be surprising for a lot of people, and that is Walter's spin paintings. Now, Walter was doing these 10 or 12, 15 years before that young whippersnapper upstart Damien Hirst kind of stole his idea. Titled Green Velvet, 36 by 36, and yeah, I can't help but think that these also make me think of Kenneth Nolan and some of his circle paintings, even maybe some Jules Olitsky. It's titled Self-Interest, enamel on canvas. I'm going to go slow. Titled The Heat of the Climate, enamel on canvas. Well, not only are these pieces abstract, but they're also in enamel. And Walter is generally pretty much an acrylic painter. Trap, and if I'm not mistaken, I have seen this piece before at a show that Walter had maybe 4 years ago somewhere in Chelsea at a gallery that probably doesn't exist anymore. Vacation from the Self, 36 by 36, also enamel. And I I guess you could probably see that Walter was playing around a little bit with the amount of solvents and various other painterly concoctions. Malignant hatred. You know, Walter has got to be one of the most observant witnesses to what's going on in the art scene. He was an art editor at artnet.com for years and probably has written millions of words about the New York art scene. And I would have to say that there is probably a certain amount of humor, parody, sarcasm, not to say cynicism in a lot of his work. It's titled Generosity of a Crook. Again, the restraint of this piece. I am mad, I am drowning. Actually, I think that there are probably a lot of artists that could make a career out of one gimmicky technique like this and ride on it for the next 30 years. There's also another nice piece with, I don't know, maybe mixed water in his enamel. I like the bubbles. We've got a gallery of the Heartthrobs and romantic types. Well, there's got to be a certain amount of beautiful poetic justice in the fact that Walter is back here in SoHo having this major show. You know, he started out his career here. He was one of the founders of a little magazine called Art-Rite. He wrote for Art in America for years. Oh, I like that. Kind of the unfinishedness is nice. Anyway, he was involved with the Pictures Generation people. He even showed with Richard Prince at Spiritual America up at 5 Rivington Street. And I think one of the reasons he wasn't really considered a major part of the Pictures Generation was, first of all, Walter has always been a painter, and for Rosalind Krauss and Hal Foster and Benjamin Baclo, painting was evil. The other thing is, I think a lot of people kind of look at critics and art writers as not serious painters. But, you know, just through the power of his personality and his stubbornness and his endeavor, you know, Walter has kind of proved these people are all wrong. And, you know, he's been part of art history for a long time and has been referenced in Thomas Lawson's The Last Exit Painting, and also Marcello Bonito Olive's The Trance Avant-Garde, which was seen as a manifesto for a lot of the Neo-Expressionism that came in the early and mid-'80s. Gee, there's Carla McCormick. We'll go look at a portrait of him that Walter did about 30 years ago. So there's Carla McCormick as he appeared 30 years ago when he was a young redhead. Now Carlo's got a kid that looks just about like that. Doug at Limbo. I don't know whether this guy was the bartender. Looks like he's pouring some vodka. Beadlow. most recognized of the appropriation artists. Robert, 1984. Self-portrait. Louis Frangella. Oh, I recognize this cat. Martin Wong. Martin has had an incredible posthumous career. Richard Hamilton. This guy was known as the shadow painter. He would paint black figures all over the walls of the East Village. And Joe Manchek was a very influential critic back in the late 80s. This is an interesting comparison. We've got Johnny here from 1984. And then we've got Honey from 2014. So there's 20 years between those two, but there is a very consistent style. I would imagine this is titled Gallo. We've got the stubby, the medium, and the tall boys. We're going to wrap up looking at this wall of fast food, mostly burgers. You can go back on one of the rough cuts of the Kalm reports and see a show that Walter did in the East Village probably 3 years ago that featured his food paintings. This is titled Amy's Veggie Burger. Acrylic on canvas, 17 by 22 inches. It's titled Impression Cheeseburger 2012. These were the pieces that I was joking with Walter that they had a real kind of a wholesomeness to them. It's titled Savarin. And I guess that's probably would be a reference to the Jasper Johns Savarin can with the paintbrushes in there, but for Walter it's French fries. Cheeseburger 2012, 20 by 20, and you couldn't get more straight ahead than this. Yeah, classic Americana. Turkey cheeseburger. Oh, that looks good. We got the sesame seed bun. And they got the special sauce. Looks like it's got lettuce and cheese. Congratulations, Walter. I think he's finally broke through to the big time. Peter Sheldon. Oh man. The guy's the star. Gee, there's Bobby G. So this has been James Kalm, looking at Walter Robinson, a retrospective. We're at Jeffrey Deitch, at the bottom of SoHo. Thank you, Kate. That was lovely. Thank you.